My partner, 28M, wants to roleplay as my dream ex during dates. Is this a red flag or just playful? Hey Reddit, I could really use some outside perspective on this situation. I, 27F, have been dating my boyfriend, Lysander, 28M, for about a year now. For the most part, things have been really good between us. He's funny, thoughtful, and we've always had this natural chemistry that just clicked. But recently, he's been suggesting something that has me scratching my head, and honestly, it's starting to make me uncomfortable. So, here's the backstory. A few months ago, we were having one of those long, late-night conversations where you end up sharing a lot of random stuff from your past. I told him about my dream ex. Let's call him Caspian. Caspian was the one who got away, I guess you could say. We dated for a few months in college, and he was this mysterious, artsy guy, think poetry nights, guitar playing under the stars, that kind of thing. He was my first real love, but things ended because we wanted different things. He wanted to travel the world and live in a van, while I wanted stability and a clear path after graduation. When I mentioned Caspian, I thought it was just a fun, nostalgic story to share, but Lysander seemed oddly fixated on it. He asked a lot of questions about Caspian, what kind of dates we went on, what I liked about him, how he made me feel, and even down to the way he dressed and spoke. At first, I thought it was just curiosity, but then things started to get strange. A couple of weeks later, Lysander came up with this fun idea for one of our dates. He suggested that he could pretend to be Caspian for the night. He said it like it was some quirky, romantic roleplay, like he was going to step into the shoes of this poetic, free-spirited guy I used to be in love with. He even joked about buying a leather jacket, the kind Caspian always wore, and taking me out to one of those indie coffee shops where they have open mic nights. He thought it could be a way to spice things up between us. I laughed it off at first because I thought he was joking, but when I realized he was serious, I didn't know how to respond. I told him it seemed kind of weird, but he brushed it off, saying he thought it would be fun for me to relive those memories in a new way. He even said something like, "Wouldn't it be nice if you could experience your dream dates again, but with someone who actually wants to stick around?" It felt like he was trying to make it sound thoughtful, like he was doing this for me, but the whole thing left me feeling off. The first time he actually tried this was on our next date. He showed up wearing a jacket almost identical to the one Caspian used to wear. He had even slicked his hair back in this slightly messy style, trying to match the look I had described. We went to this old dive bar that had live music, and he spent the whole night asking me things like, "Do you feel like you're back in those days? Or is this how Caspian would have done it?" It was super awkward, and I just felt uncomfortable the entire time. I tried to gently bring it up afterward, telling him that I appreciated the effort, but that it just wasn't really my thing. He acted a little hurt, like he thought he had come up with this amazing, thoughtful date idea, but then he said he understood. I thought that would be the end of it, but I was wrong. The next weekend, Lysander suggested we do another Caspian date, but this time he wanted to go all out. He proposed that I call him by Caspian's name for the night, and he'd try to recreate this old date I had described, one where Caspian and I stayed up all night on the beach, talking about our dreams under the stars. He said he thought it would be a healing experience for me to revisit those memories and make them better. At this point, I was starting to feel really weirded out. It almost seemed like he was trying to compete with Caspian's memory, like he wanted to prove he could be better at being Caspian than Caspian himself. I told him that I didn't want to do it and that I just wanted to enjoy dates as ourselves, but he kept insisting that he thought it would be fun and even therapeutic. When I pressed him about why he was so fixated on this, he got a bit defensive. He said that he just wanted to understand me better, to see what I saw in Caspian back then. He kept framing it as if this was about bringing us closer together, but to me it felt like he was trying to live up to some fantasy version of what he thought I wanted. He said, "I just think it's a way for me to become everything you've ever dreamed of. I don't know if I'm overreacting, but the whole thing feels off. Like, shouldn't he want to be himself with me, instead of trying to be someone else? I get that relationships can have role-playing elements and people can have fun with that, but this feels more personal, like he's stepping into a territory that should be left in the past." It's starting to make me question things. Part of me wonders if he's doing this because he's insecure, like he thinks he can't measure up to my past. I never meant to make him feel that way. Caspian and I were years ago. Lysander knows I'm with him now for a reason. But this obsession with recreating those memories is making me second-guess everything. And to make matters worse, Last night we had a pretty intense conversation where Lysander said that he sometimes worries that I still have feelings for Caspian. He admitted that he thought doing these dates might help me let go of that part of my past once and for all. He said he feels like there's a part of me that's still stuck on what could have been with Caspian, and he just wants to help me move past it, but I don't feel like I'm hung up on Caspian at all. I haven't spoken to him in years, and I thought I had made peace with that part of my life. I told Lysander this, but he doesn't seem to believe me. Now I feel like I've accidentally opened some kind of Pandora's box with that one late-night story, and it's affecting our whole relationship. I'm genuinely at a loss here. Is this just Lysander being creative and trying to connect with me in a deeper way, or is this a sign of some bigger insecurity or trust issue? I don't want to accuse him of anything unfairly, but the idea of calling my boyfriend by my ex's name, even as a game, just feels like it's crossing a line. I miss when we could just be ourselves with each other without bringing my past into it. Has anyone else dealt with something like this? Am I missing something here? Or does this seem like a red flag? I'm open to hearing your thoughts, because I'm starting to feel like I can't see this situation clearly anymore. Thanks in advance, Reddit.